which is looking at, of course, family love. Ben gave a beautiful representation of what family life was like, and he spoke about his brother, his siblings, how they don't get on, how they do get on, all the different kind of stuff that happened, those things that were, he really had to love him despite brotherly love. And family love. He had to go and do that. So that was that. And then second, there was the really easy one that Glenn preached on, which of course was Eros. And thank you so much. He did an amazing representation of that. I certainly, Glenn, thank you so much. Saved me from going red, which was good. Of course, talking about romantic love. Then, of course, last week, Ben looked at filial love, which was brotherly love towards one another. So really, there's one more, and tonight I'm going to be wrapping this up, which is looking at agape love. Some might say that agape love, God's love, is the greatest love of all. It's the one that most people can maybe relate to. I think it's possibly the one that most people have heard the most of. Agape love. But I think when we start to look at agape love, we realize that the way that God loves people is maybe a very different approach to how we love one another. Tonight we'll be able to look at that a little closer. But I'm just going to say this from the outset, and I hope I don't upset anyone, but I'm just going to say this. Agape love is a choice. Agape love is a choice whether or not we want to love someone or we don't. We can choose to accept and choose to make a difference, or we can choose not to. Agape love is a choice. See, the creator of heaven and earth, the giver, the sustainer of life, knows me and you by name. There is no doubt about that. God knows us by name. He knows every little bit of detail about you. And he still chooses to love you. Even though our friends, family, man, the moments that we go through sometimes can cause a little bit of irritation in the family. Maybe, just a little bit. Maybe there's some voices that get a little bit raised. And maybe it's not always so easy to love someone. I grew up with two older brothers. I nearly added something in the middle there. With two older brothers that were just horrible. I was picked on all the time. I was bullied. They thought it was hilarious to just play stunts on me. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story. Picture this. Mum and Dad out on a Tuesday night. They're in church. I'm at home with my eldest brother. In fact, my two brothers were there. And my ear started to really itch. Like, you know, one of those moments that you think, I couldn't describe it to you, just itching deep inside. Well, my eldest brother, I thought was really caring. He said, Pete, let me have a look. So they said, I tell you what, the best place is, in the old house where we used to live, there was a kitchen bin. They said, if you just sit on the kitchen bin, put your head on the worktop, and we'll have a look inside. So then my brothers started to be so caring towards me. I thought, do you know what, they're out to love me. So, by this stage, I had my head, you got to picture this, guys. I'm in the kitchen, on the corner, my head is on the worktop. I really hope they're tuning in to listen to this. My head is on the worktop, and my brother, Gary, shouts, don't move, quick, don't move, I need to get an instrument. An instrument? I can see a UV wig. But it's so deep in your ear, I just need to get something to get it out. I said, by this time, now obviously I was young, And my emotions were now running wild. What? I've got something alive in my head. It's moving around. They would go, don't move. By this time, both of my brothers were in on this. Robert had pinned my head onto the worktop. Gary was shaking my head, going, let me go and get... By this time, Gary had gone and got a knife. He said, don't move. I need to put it in your ear to get it out. I was going, no! You can't do that. And they're going, look, the more you move and the more it's burrowing in, it's going to eat your brain. I started to go a little bit wild, and by this time now, panic had set in. Tears were rolling down my face. And I was going, I don't want to die. They're going, it's going to kill you unless you let us do it. Now, needless to say, they stopped when they realized it had gone too far. I didn't really love my brothers at that point. I gotta be honest. Mum and Dad came home from church. They'd been to a prayer meeting. They weren't even praying about me. They should have been fasting and praying for the hatred of my brothers towards me. Yet I was in a place whereby my head was pinned, and they just thought it was hilarious. Of course, Mum and Dad came in and did nothing but laugh. And they said, well, you'd learn next time, wouldn't you? In that moment, I can honestly tell you, I didn't feel love towards my brothers, but I felt a whole lot of hurt and anger. In fact, probably for the next 20 years. I'm still wondering how I can pay them back. See, when we look at agape love, it means that we need to love despite our circumstances, despite what's going around us. I could actually tell you a whole more other things to go that you can find out about my brothers. The fact I was beaten. And to think he's a leader in a church. Anyway, so tonight as we look at agape love, we're going to be looking, of course, at some Bible verses. And of course, Luke 10:25-37 was read out tonight. Looking at love. Oh, well, was it? The Good Samaritan, the parable of the Good Samaritan. And lots of us have heard of that parable many, many, many times. Certainly for me, I've read it and reread it over and over again. And I knew this story. But sometimes when you read something, you can miss some little nuggets. And for me, as we're looking at this tonight, this topic of love, for me, there was no better place than to look at this story of what love was like. Or maybe lack of. See, the parable of the Samaritan, we've got, as it was read to us earlier on, there's places in that we can definitely pull out and go, oh my goodness, how could someone do that? But we need to understand the context of where they're at. And hopefully I'll take you on that journey tonight. So really quickly, I'm just going to really quickly go over the parable of the Good Samaritan. So I'm going to jump in at verse 30. I'll be jumping back and forth. So verse 30 says this. Jesus replied with a story. A Jewish man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of clothes, beat him, and left him half dead beside the road. By chance, a priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed over to the other side of the road, and they passed him by. A temple assistant walked over, looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Then a despised Samaritan came along. And when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Go over to him. The Samaritan soothed his wounds with oil and wine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn, where he took care of him. Okay, pause. How many times have we held someone in high esteem thinking that because of the position they held, they were going to do the right thing? Because of their position, they were going to do the right thing. I think years ago, various people throughout society people held in high esteem. And therefore, the expectation of them was that I can run to them for safety. I can go to them because they're people that won't tell lies. They're people that tell the truth. They're honorable people. They're people that have integrity. And over the course of many years, seemingly, stories have been told, truth has come out, and we realize that not everyone is who they say they are. And because of that, what it does is it taints other areas of life. So, for instance, when you look at, I was a young boy, another story, I was a young boy on holiday with my parents. They were busy carrying a boat through a shipping village. And it was going from one side of the town to the other. The place was packed. It was absolutely ram-packed. Dad was like, we're going to go from one place to the other. It's going to be fine. Just follow me. My brothers, my dad, notice my brother's in again. My brothers, my dad, my mum, they were all ahead. And all I had to do was just follow. Again, picture this hustly, bustly place, packed out. They arrived at the place, unpacked, put the boat down, everything was great. Where's Pete? Where's Pete? Pete was with you, wasn't he? No, I thought he was with you. No, I thought he was with you. No. Where's Pete? They go and chase their tracks, find Pete's not around. Pete's gone. They left me. The whole family left me. Am I painting this poor picture for you, my family? My family left. I was abandoned in a place, in a town where I did not know. So the only place I had to go, the only person I could think of was, I'm going to go to find a police officer, and they would be the person that helped me. So the police officer, I go and speak to the police officer. I say, my parents have abandoned me. I'm lost. They said, oh, come on, we'll love you and take care of you where others haven't. Come with me. So I ended up going and spending a few hours with the lovely people called the police. They were great. I colouring pencils, crayons, drink. I had a great event. I had a ball of a time. And then a couple of hours later, my parents had to turn up. I had a great time, and they found me in the end. But the fact was, I had to go to someone that I believed had the protection, the authority to look after me, to care for me, to take me to a loving place. That, for me at the time, was the police. And they did exactly what they were meant to do. But do you know what? There's stories now over a number of years that there's, believe it or not, there's corrupt police. There were police that were once held in high regard, and now all of a sudden, would I choose to run to them? I hope I would. The fact is, because of so many other stories, my thought process has been tainted. And people's thoughts about them are now not what it once was. So let me bring it to this story. Here we have actions of a pastor, a minister. Oh, I can hear a pin drop. See, we have actions that the expectation is that the pastor was going to cross over the road to go and help someone. Why wouldn't he? That's his job. He loves, cares for the flock. Why wouldn't he do that? Why would he not go and help? Why? All of a sudden, the picture's been tainted. And the very person that you thought was going to come over to your aid now turns his back and walks away. See, this is one moment. This is one place where an opportunity passed by to do the right thing. Yet, the choice was made and the back was turned. Notice that, guys. The choice was made, the back was turned. The choice was, the priest could have gone over, he could have helped, but he didn't. The choice was made and his back was turned. Let's move across, let's move down. See, another person, a person who is employed by the church. Oh, well, it's employed by the church. Super godly. Must have it all together. Wouldn't do anything wrong. Wouldn't think the wrong thought, wouldn't do the wrong thing, wouldn't act in the wrong way. But unfortunately, see, as the police situation, over years, the things that could erode of different people in our society has now tainted what the church looks like. Do people run to the church or do they run away from the church? Do people run towards faith or do they believe that faith causes wars? Do people run towards God or do they believe or do they blame God for where they're at? Can you see what's happened? The things that have been eroded and changed because of mindsets have come in and have now made people think in a completely different way. See, the actions of a church employee, you would have thought would have been, even if they couldn't do it, I'm going to go and get someone else to come and support, someone else to come. I mean, you even look at a place right now and you think, oh, I want to go and help someone, but, oh, can I do that? I'm a bloke by myself. If I go and help that person, will I be blamed for now doing something else? That's the place where we're at. If there was someone that was really desperate and I absolutely heartfelt want to go and see them, want to go and be with them, can't go by myself anymore, guys. No. You wouldn't find me, and I'm just being really super honest with you tonight. If there was a woman in a church and she wanted to have a pastoral visit, you would not find me by myself. You would find it, I would bring someone else with me, or in fact, Adele would come with another woman. You would not find me going there by myself at all. Why? Because of so many other things that have now taken place and have tainted what should be love, what should be caring, has now turned out to let me see how I can twist the knife in and change what people's thoughts, actions, and attitude are to something that is meant to be agape love, but yet something that is now reckless. What a difference. Okay, so I'll pick this up at 32, and it says, 32, it says, it takes off the temple assistant. A temple assistant walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Notice this, the choice was made and the back was turned. Choice was made and the back was turned. But this is the thing about this story that I'm captured the most. Someone was willing, that didn't fit the bill, but yet was willing to carry the can. Someone who was an outcast, who had no affiliation to the church or anything else, but was willing to come out of where he was, to cross over the other side, and to help. See, it says this, 33, then the despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Going over to him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with oil and wine and bandaged them. Question, why was the Samaritan despised? Why was the Samaritan despised? It's really simple, guys. Feuds that take place hundreds of years beforehand continue and rage to this day. Things that you think, man, how could somebody take so much of offense to that? Hatred between Jews and Samaritans was fierce and long-standing. It was about divides in the land. Families arguing between themselves, colors of skin, speech, customs, and cultures. Some would say an outcast in society. That's exactly who they were. Yet, it was that person who chose to go over the other side and to help. Man, doesn't this feel all the wrong way round? Doesn't this feel that where was the pastor? Where was the churchgoer? Where were they? Oh, I tell you what, they turned their back. Ta-da. That's where they were. But yet, someone else that was despised by the land chose to come in to help. Even more than that, they went a little bit further. Agape love is loving despite what others think, even if it opposes to what others would have done. Wow. Being completely selfless in what could have been a very selfish situation. Not lovely. I'm just going to say that again, guys. Agape love is loving despite what others think, even if it's opposed to what others would have done. Being completely selfless in what could have been a selfish situation. The other two, remember, turned their backs, walked away. Yet the one who was his life was more in danger than any of the others, chose to come in and help. So, 3 things to look at tonight. Okay, I'm going to be real quick. Number 1, the decision to love, agape love, came at a cost. First thing was, the cost was time. The guy that crossed over the road, the Samaritan, the one who absolutely helped out, he had to take time out of his day to go over to help. Just like when I went and saw out the police officer that said, help, my parents have abandoned me. And help, my brothers have gone. Nothing new there. All of those things help. Do you see? It took time out of somebody else's day to come and help me. The same with all the rest of us, guys. It takes time out of our day to come and help somebody else. It takes time. Secondly, then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn where he took care of him. Number 2, the cost was finance. The guy didn't turn around and say, oh, do you know what, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to pay for this guy. And when he wakes up, don't worry, I'm going to get the money off him later on. This guy was already an outcast, already someone that he was despised by, but yet was willing to take time out of his day, was willing to take finances out of his pocket and to help somebody else. How amazing is that? Agape love. Even more than that, verse 35. Then the next day he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, take care of this man. And by the way, he came back and he said, I'm also going to pay for whatever else is needed in the future. Future costs were even covered. The time was taken, the cost was paid for, but also the future cost was also covered. How amazing is that? If the bill runs higher, I'll pay it. And by the way, I'm also going to come back. Next time I'm even in the village, I'm going to come back and I'm going to top up. So, paint this picture. This guy didn't even live in the village. He didn't even know anyone around. He was despised, yet was willing to say, do you know what, I'm going to come back. And I'm going to sort out a bill that's not even mine. I'm going to come back, take more time out of my day. I'm going to come back and just check whether or not there's an outstanding bill, an outstanding invoice. I'm going to do all of that, even though I'm a despised and rejected person. Hated. Agape love. Jesus then encourages us to go and do the same. Do the same. That does not mean to go and pass by. That does not mean to just turn our faces and go, that's not, yeah, I can see that on my watch, but somebody else is going to deal with that. I believe that God has called each and every one of us to unique positions within our lives. The circle of influence that you have will be one that you can action for the good. So the circle of influence, if you work in education, I'm going to stick with education. If you work in education and there are children that are around you that are in need, but yet they're absolute monkeys. Love them anyway. That is the hardest thing to do. Love them anyway. Because there will be moments where you think, man, I don't understand why I've just had a board rubber chucked at my head. Oh, sorry, was I talking from experience? I don't understand why a teacher to know. There are times that you would think, I don't understand, where's the love? Why would a person be like this? Why would actions be like this? But what we don't understand is what goes on behind the background. Love them anyway. We don't understand what some people have gone through. And equally, there are many times in our lives that people will come up and upset you and offend you. Love them anyway. There will be times in our lives that people will try to put you down, and people will try to make you feel small or make you feel insignificant in what you're doing. There will be those times. There's a little saying that I've heard many times, and that is a little saying that's just it's as simple as this: just smile and wave. Why? Because it's so important, guys, that whatever else is going on, we can love them anyway. I was on my way here tonight, been in work today, went home, had a bath. On my way here tonight in the car, there was a guy in a van driving towards me really quick. It was my right of way. There was a car parked on the other side. Everything about the whole thing should have been that he was going to wait for me to come through. But the whole process of he's bigger than me really worked. And he came through at a rapid pace. In that moment, I had to make some choices. The choice that I made was that I smiled and waved. That was not my natural choice. I chose to smile and wave. And the guy actually put his thumb up to me to say thank you. Every part of me wanted to just clench my fist. But I didn't. I did the opposite. There are times that we have to make choices that will affect others. And those choices will change what happens, maybe for somebody else's day. Even to the point of keeping on the thread of driving, even to the point of just letting somebody else out. Quite often, where I live, there's a little chicane and we have to let people come through because it's their right away. Or it's my right away and we go through. Either way, I choose to say thank you. Regardless whose way it was or is. Cheers. Now, there are times that other people don't do that to me and come through when it's my right away. I don't always feel the blessing of the Lord upon me right then. But nevertheless, smile and wave. See, we can all choose to go, I want to break, I want to keep with what the law says, and the law says it's my right to way, and the law says this is what should happen. That's the right thing to do. But yet, somebody broke it. Have you broken the law for that day by speeding past 30 miles an hour? Have you done something very similar despite even realizing? Have you done something really silly like I did a few months ago when my back end of my car was going through Cardiff and I stopped in a yellow box? Only because I couldn't go through because the light was red and I was stuck like half on it. Not even half on it. I was just touching it. Come through a £60 fine. Because I was just touching the box. I shouldn't have been in the box. I broke the law. Every part of me wanted to contest it. It wasn't my fault! Then there was a picture. Now, the picture that was painted was my car in the box. But the picture was not showing the rest of the cars in front of me waiting at the red light. I'm going, that's only half of the picture. Doesn't matter. I shouldn't have gone in to the box without the exit being clear. I broke the law. I have to pay the consequence. See, guys, all the way through, we have choices to make. So as I wrap this up tonight, I just want to say this. Jesus then encouraged us to go and do the same, to go out and to reach others, to go out and to love like Jesus loves, despite the situation. Agape love has no boundaries. Agape love has no favorites. Oh. Agape love accepts what they face and act on it. Whatever you may come across in that day, whatever you may face, whatever your reaction is, you have a choice to make. Will you choose love, the agape love, or will you choose something else? I know what Jesus chose. Agape love will keep and keep on giving. You will never stop agape love. How beautiful is that? You will never stop agape love. Agape love has no limitations. None at all. The only limitations that there are the ones that we place on it, on the situation, on the time, in the place. And we try to justify what we're doing, when we're doing it, why we can't do it. But yet, agape love, despite the situation, would cross the road, despite danger. Agape love. And my final agape love is that, very simple, agape love is a choice that we make. I think you would have had that through the thread tonight. So as the worship guys come up, I just want to say this. Jesus showed us the fullness of agape love in action. Jesus made sacrificial decisions for us despite knowing that he was rejected by so many. He loved us no matter what. He loved us despite agape love. Jesus knew the outcome before they even started, and yet his love was that I'm still going to go through with what was coming. See, on Palm Sunday when Jesus rode in and he went in, Jesus knew what was coming. But yet his love for us was so overwhelming, he could not stop the process. The agape love was that I have to go through despite I know what is ahead of me, despite the circumstances, despite the ridicule, despite the rejection, I am still going to go ahead. Love them anyway. Agape love never stops giving. And that is why I believe wholeheartedly in for us to reopen the building in Cumberland. See, there's a rich history that has gone on way before us. People have spent years sowing seeds. People have spent years speaking, preaching the good news of Jesus. Up and down the valley. And even though, I'm going to say this, guys, even though church may have failed them, God has not. And I believe that the church has an awful lot to answer for. Because it's not God that has let people down, it's people that have let people down. And the reality is that churches up and down this valley are in the place where they're in, not because God has let anyone down, but because the church wasn't what the church was meant to be. If the church was functioning as the church should function, man, what a difference this community would be. Up and down the valleys, I don't believe we would see churches closing, but we see churches opening. Why? Because hearts would be full of the love of Christ for what he's done, but yet churches themselves have done exactly the opposite. And I believe that we are in a unique time that we can put things right. Sometimes, guys, it means that we have to stand up and say, I'm sorry, that person was wrong. The person that spoke negatively over your life that was a previous pastor, the person that spoke negatively over your life that was a person from wherever he was from, that was wrong. And I just want to say, Jesus has never stopped loving you. Man, what a difference that would make. There's a whole lot of repair that needs to be done. And never think that just because I'm a pastor, don't ever think that I've not gone through it either. In fact, you have to put yourself in many places where you have been put down, where you've been kicked, where you have to get back up, pull yourself back up. Guys, we don't do what we do because of standing on a pedestal. We do what we do because we know that Jesus is the answer, and Jesus is the person that can absolutely turn things around. All this is done through agape love. Because Jesus never stops giving and never stops loving. So church, how are we going to love others? How are we going to be church? How are we going to go and make a difference? How are we going to step in the gap and maybe have to apologize to people for what has previously gone on? The hardest thing to do is knowing that there are people that have been hurt in the past and seeking them out. I want to challenge you tonight, guys. If you know anyone that you know that has been hurt by people in a church, that is not God, but is people in a church, even if you yourself has been hurt yourself in a church, if it's you yourself, you need to know that God absolutely loves you. And that people get it wrong. But God always gets it right. And I hope and pray that as we move into a new season, as the new church opens next Sunday, guys, I am believing that God is going to do something incredible. I'm believing one of the things that I'm extremely passionate about is that we need to bring back the prodigals. And to do that is going to take time, and to do that is going to take pain. Why? Because you need to open up old wells. And opening up old wells actually hurts, because it means that you have to get your hands dirty and start to do a little bit of work. But I'm up for that. Will you come on that journey with me? That we can just turn some negative situations around into a positive. That the church becomes a big, bright light on the hill because of the presence of God. And that the negativity that is being spoken over it because of past things and people have got it wrong need to be put right. Because it's not God's fault. Let me pray. Please, can you stand? So, Father, tonight I just thank you for your word. I thank you for your agape love. I thank you for the love that never ever stops giving. I thank you in your word. You clearly show that despite whatever is around us, the negative situations that have gone in, the people that may call you names, the people that may have hurt you, the people that may even be worried for you, your safety. Father, I pray that we will choose to do what is right. I pray that we will choose to do what you've called us to do. Be light in a dark situation. That we wouldn't hide ourselves away, but yet we would choose to do something amazing and to shine brightly. So, Father, tonight I pray for people in this room that church has hurt them. Holy Spirit, I pray that right now your healing hand would come in and mend those broken hearts. I pray, Father, that if people are worried about what church has done in the past, Father, I just pray that you would just be all that you can to them right now. That you would be their staff that they can lean on in times of worry, in times of anguish, in times of desperation. Father, and when there seems to be an impossible task, we can hold the staff out and there seems to be a way where there was no way. And by the power of God, you create an amazing path for us to walk through because of the presence of God. So Father, tonight, heal this broken land, I pray. Help us to be the people that you've called us to be. Help us to be people of integrity, people who are honest, people whose word yes means yes. Father, help us to be like you, to show agape love,